3, 2, 1, and we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, where I read to you headlines from my news feed so we can get a survey of what's going on in the world. And I might share with you my thoughts about the headlines, about the article if I've read the article, about the subject matter in general, about part of the article if I've skimmed the article. But it's not news. It's just my notes on the news. Welcome. Thank you for the like. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Let's proceed. I might have already said that. We're working on 1,000. I know I didn't say that. We're working on 1,000. We're working on 1,000 subscribers. Hey, Rowdy Chica. Let's go, girl. Let go. Patrick Renna set to recur on Glow. I don't know who he is, but M.A. Equacore joins Counterpart. I don't even know what Counterpart is, but I know that M.A. Equacore, however you pronounce his name, that's probably someone who's Nigerian. He sounds West African. So if you watch Counterpart, have considered watching Counterpart, just so you know, he out there. And airlines' new seats, I was literally about to walk away from my desk, but you are worth staying for. Mutual Admiration Society. I'm going to try to hurry up. I don't want you not doing what you got to do. Just turn it up. You can hear me. And airlines' new seats let parents and babies lie down together during a flight, and the internet is ecstatic. That's pretty interesting, because that seems like a human thing. Like, babies probably need to be able to relax and stretch out. And probably if the parent is tense, then the child is probably tense, more likely to cry. I've never been on a plane with a crying baby. I think once I got on a plane and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this baby going to cry the whole time? And I think by the time I finished the thought, the baby had probably finished crying, because I don't remember. Star college athlete died while saving his little brother. I don't know what these people's names are. Let me pull up names. So rest in peace for the star athlete. And also, what a hero. I don't know how his little brother is going to feel. I hope his little brother feels, really valued and like it was something special and not guilty, but just, really appreciates the love that his brother showed for him and the power of his brother's sacrifice of his life. Oh, the baby's name who died was Andre Derouen Jr., and he died while saving his little brother. So, prayers out to him. He was from Galveston, Texas, or he was a student athlete at Galveston College in Galveston, Texas. I think Galveston is on the coast. Isn't it on the coast? I think it's on the coast. So anyway, rest in peace. Facebook has been collecting text and call histories from users, and it may be Google's fault. We already talked about this. We know they all of the, your little girlfriend, is it Alexa? That thing is collecting information too. They're all collecting information. But anyway, so yeah, what legitimate reason does Facebook, the first flight I ever took, there was so much crying. Then I finally stopped. I knew that's where you were going with that joke. Yeah, so Facebook has been collecting data. What is the legit? Well, I guess they do ask you, like I noticed that they ask now, may we have your text number so that we can verify, if you lose your login information, can we text you to verify? So that's probably when they started. I'm trying not to say her name. She listened. She probably got your text log, your call log, your video log, all of the information. They got it. They synthesizing it. They profiling us, or have the ability to very easily. The show that I was interested in, sounds kind of random, but there was a TV show on where people tried to evade the law for 6 weeks. I think it was 6 weeks. I don't know if anybody ever saw it. It was me and my mother watched it and we were fascinated. Like you had to like you could like get $100 at a time from these ATMs, and you had to stay within a certain region of the country. Like you couldn't just go throughout the world. It was like a game show. But it was I just felt like I needed more information on how to escape, how to go under the grid, off grid, how to go off grid. I want to go not only off the grid but under the grid. But it was amazing. It was amazing. And I felt like what they were doing was trying to get some people, like they were trying to tighten up their ability to find you, surveil you, profile you, and like put it all together. It was, I can't remember what it was called. And it was like only 8 episodes or something. I can't remember, but I probably talked about it when it was on, during Notes on the news feed, but it seemed like it was over the summer that it was on. Jacqueline Woodson, U.S. teen author, wins $600,000 Astrid Lindgren Prize. It's a Black woman. She writes literature for young people, teens and maybe teens, but younger people, teen and below. So congratulations, Jacqueline Woodson. I've never read any of her work. Maybe I should check her out. JWST, Hubble successor faces new delay. So the Hubble, I guess, is it's something out in space that is trying to gather information about what's going on in the internet. I mean, not in the internet, but in the world. Not in the world, in the universe, like out in outer space. And so as soon as they put Hubble out, they started developing Hubble Point 2. And the next Hubble is a collaboration. Hubble is a space telescope. Hubble is a space telescope, for those of you who don't know. Look, I read the whole article. But what I thought was interesting about, I skimmed the article. What I thought was interesting about it is, one, when they put the first Hubble out, they started working on developing the next Hubble. Their theory was that it would be ready by around 2011, and that it would cost $2.3 million or $3.2 million, something like that. I think it's up to 8. Is it 8 million or 8 billion? But anyway, it's almost at the cap that Congress set for it. And it's also a collaborative effort. It's not just the United States, it's Canada, and I think some other country is involved with it as well. And it's been delayed. They're thinking that, are you multitasking again? Oh, right. It's just notes. It's a gestalt. It's not like an in-depth analysis, because that's not really, I don't have the patience for that. So 800 million. So 8 billion to build, 8 million to operate over 5 years in orbit. So it was supposed to happen sooner, but it's been pushed back. I think this is the second time that it's been pushed back to 2020. So to date, NASA has invested $7.3 billion in the thing. And then there was something else. Oh, the other thing that was really exciting to me about it is that the way that they're building it, or part of what it's designed to do, is they're trying to find the first stars in the universe. And I don't know why that's so interesting to me. When I took astronomy, I was fascinated at the idea that because of the way that the speed with which light moves, sometimes you could be looking at something and you could see it and it could already not exist anymore. Like you're looking back into history. I mean, that was just like amazing to me. I didn't have like the visual, like I noticed other people when we were like in astronomy class, it seemed like they could visualize like the movements happening simultaneously. And I noticed I had a very difficult time with that. So I don't think I had like an aptitude for that. I do have an aptitude for astrology. It is looking into the past, and that's just like amazing to me. I don't know why, but I'm just like, wow. I just thought that concept, that idea was like really beautiful. So that's one of the things that Hubble is going to be trying to do. My poor Blackberry, she trying. Joint venture between its European and Canadian counterparts. So I don't know, is that the European Union? What they mean, European counterparts? Which European counterparts? Benjamin Crump calls out inconsistencies between Parkland school shooter and Stefan Clark at news conference. I I guess we could just, sit around all day and just call out inconsistencies. You know what I mean? Like, the double standards are just so abundant. I don't think we could ever run out of them. So, I mean, I didn't read the article, but like, I get the concept, I don't know who's Benjamin Crump. I don't know who he is. Logitech built a $49 digital crayon for the new iPad. I don't see the connection. Well, the thing is that the shooter, probably what he's saying is the school shooter in Parkland was treated one way and Stephen Clark was treated another way. Now, Stephen Clark was someone who, had not killed 17 people, did not take an assault rifle into a school and try to kill people or kill people. He was just in his backyard, you know what I mean? Like, he was attacked. So probably what it is the cover. I don't know, but I'd imagine that, just like the guy who, they always, it's kind of like, well, he's no angel. Whereas this guy, oh, he's mentally ill. He's a sweet angel. He's just got, poor baby. He didn't mean to kill the people. It was a mistake. But this one who didn't kill anybody, oh, he was about to kill 1 million people. That's why we had to shoot him and take him down. It's like this weird, that's what I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm like just out here lying, making up stuff. You read the headline and think you know where the story's going. I didn't get a burger either. It is different. A challenged young man. Right. So there's this new iPad, I guess. I'm kind of confused. I saw somewhere where it's $349. I think that's the new iPad, which is supposed to be educational institution friendly. And I guess that the crayon that's designed to go with the iPad costs $89, making it cost prohibitive for a lot of people in an educational setting. But so this company has developed a $49 digital crayon that can be used with a new iPad. I'm like so confused. I had an iPad and I guess that I made the mistake of buying it through my phone company and adding it to my phone bill because I'm like, a cheap iPad is $349. How much should I pay? I'm like really upset that I didn't know that I was paying, all that money for an iPad because I didn't even like that iPad. And now I need to look and see how much I'm paying for this tablet. Apple is only giving schools a $30 discount. I'm not a fan. I'm not. I guess they're popular. It seemed like when Apple Macintosh was created, there was like an educational orientation, but I guess that's where they thought that they could enter the market because IBM was like very business oriented. So I guess they figured they could enter the school market. So it's not that they had a heart for children or schools. They just saw an opportunity to make money because a $30 discount, I don't know. I guess $30 is something, but I feel like, I don't know. Dr. Nakia, or how this millennial became a doctor of naturopathic medicine. I don't know who Dr. Nakia is, but I'm all in favor of people being doctors of naturopathic medicine. I'm in favor of people being herbologists or herbalists. I'm in favor of people studying and understanding how to forage for food. I'm in favor of people understanding all kinds of things outside of, Western BS medicine. So yay, Dr. Nakia. This is coming off of, I subscribe to this blog called Crayalicious, which is like Haitian stuff. So I'm assuming this is some young Haitian woman. Former Sacramento Kings, Matt Barnes, DeMarcus Cousins, step up. Thank you for the sugar heads up, by the way. Yeah, I'm going to try to keep remembering. Because you never know, like, what triggers for one person may not trigger for another person. But you can do it. I know you can do it. Sugar is evil. That's what my mother always says. Sugar is evil. Former Sacramento Kings, Matt Barnes, DeMarcus Cousins, step up for Stephon Clark. Now, what tripped me out is I actually know, I think, who Matt Barnes is. I think that Matt Barnes was married, dating a baby daddy. He was connected to somebody on Basketball Wives. But anyway, I'm just surprised that I know an athlete, not somebody like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who my mother just thinks is but somebody modern, or, Muhammad Ali, but like, yeah, somebody modern like Matt Barnes, who I don't think of as progressive, but we're going to give him a small clap, not a big clap, because I'm kind of suspicious, but we're going to give him a small clap for stepping up for Stephon Clark. Because you never know what increases someone's consciousness and helps them to like develop and to grow. And yeah, just one, not 20. Well, or maybe we should give them like 500, and that might help, all of us to grow and develop. So anyway, yay. France to lower school starting age from 6 to 3. That's going to be the youngest school starting age, I think, in Europe or in the world or whatever. 3 years old. When do kids start pre-K? 3 seems so young. Privilege much? Uh-oh. My thing just came out of my privilege much? This is some smart but sarcastic title. Article title coming off of Atlanta Black Star. Eagles fan who flipped car won't do jail time. Could have record clear. See, it's the same thing. When they celebrating because they won a game, it's like they can, destroy property, start fires, and the people are like, it's just, they just being happy. But don't let you, walk on the street and say, Black Lives Matter, and it's like all hell has to break loose. Yeah, what a shock, right? Anyway, Al Sharpton's brother charged in connection to death of Alabama woman. It was like his half brother or something. I didn't really get the sense of what the story was. It started to feel kind of convoluted when I went into the article, and I was kind of like, I don't even know. I guess it's news because it's the brother of Al Sharpton, although some of the, I don't know. Selena Gomez slammed for dissing hashtag Black Lives Matter, yet supporting hashtag March for Our Lives. That's another what a shock. You could just recycle that same one. What a shock. How surprising. How a white cop earned an invite to the cookout. I feel like I don't even invite black cops to the cookout, let alone white cops. And then I was thinking about it when I thought that. I'm like, well, I do have a cousin who was a sheriff because he was looking for a job and he found a job. And I'm like, I don't even know sometimes like how to talk to people because I feel like, people need income, feel that they need an income. Like, I don't even, but like, I'm not inviting, I know it's like a metaphor who's invited to the cookout. But no, I'm not inviting the white cop to the cookout. I don't care who he is or what he did. Get on my nerves. Brookings Institute, which I'm not familiar with, but listen to this. And I thought the whole little article was really, really interesting. And the best thing about the article, before I even get into it, the best thing about the article was that someone was tweeting back and forth. And I'm like, where did they get this information? But this person said, what was his name? Oh, his Twitter hashtag is Black Men Don't Cheat something. But he said that 80% of men who make more than $100,000, 80% of black men who make more than $100,000 a year are with black women. And I'm curious. I want to have that information because it seems like you get this impression that it's just like, every, black man who has some resources runs quickly, or upgrades quickly to the whitest and the light. So I'm like, I don't know where he got that statistic from. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was fascinating to me. I pray that that's true. Now, on one of my reality shows, Married to Medicine, all of the couples are black couples. And I've noticed that. And also, for the most part, I mean, the women are not like all extraordinarily light or, they're not light to the point where you're like, yeah, she is sort of kind of black. I mean, it's kind of like all of the women are unambiguously black. Now, a couple of them are medical doctors, but some of them aren't. So anyway. So Brookings Institute study suggests black men are bringing black women down financially and black men aren't having it. So their whole thing is that if you have a black woman and a white woman, according to their research, both of them have the same they are both statistically just as likely to get out of poverty. A black woman and a white woman. I'm kind of surprised to hear that. And then the only problem for the black women, according to this article by the Brookings Institute, or this study or whatever, is that black women get dragged down. I don't know if they use that language, by the black men or by black men or whatever. Not, of course, by, the system or systemic racism, or, why are the black men dragging the black women down? Is it because they just dogs and awful? Or maybe it has something to do with with the system, within which we're existing right now. But anyway, so in response to this article, people were once saying the Brookings Institute is a conservative think tank. I'm not familiar with the Brookings Institute. So that was kind of like one thing, and so a lot of people were like, they out here putting out propaganda, trying to drive, divide and conquer, the same old. I think that was the main thing. And I think that one woman was like, well, and that's where the black men don't cheat guy said. One woman was like, well, it's a good thing, or it's lucky for black men or something, or maybe we'd be smarter to, run like hell for white men in the same way that, black men, as soon as they have anything, run like hell for, light skin and white women. That doesn't surprise me. Believe it or not, it's systemic. One of the best ways to cause black women to look down on black men is to allow them to excel while cutting off opportunity for black men. Yeah. Hey, that was good. That the message coming right after, because then it keeps the lights on. It keeps the stream up or whatever. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it gives the perception of I can do it. Why can't you? I guess. But, yeah. I mean, I think it could give that perception. Except that, I don't, for the most part, that just hasn't been my experience. Like, I feel like, I just don't hear women talk like that. I just don't hear black women, for the most part, talk like that about black men. Like, I feel like black women seem like they just go extra, extra, extra hard for black men. Now, it doesn't feel the same way to me the other way around, in isolated or in some situations. But in general, it's a different kind of feeling. But, maybe, I don't know, William Strampale, Michigan supervisor of Larry Nassar jail. Larry Nassar is an unfortunate number of black women do take that attitude. Trust me, coming from a black man. Yeah, your perspective, yeah, I'm just thinking about what I hear people, around me saying, and I'm probably like in a bubble too, because I feel like I never grew up like when people are like, men are dogs. I was like, what kind of, who says that? It was like a long time before I realized that was like a common, idea out here in the world. I thought that was just like, I'm like, who's calling a human being a dog? But anyway, I'm just like in a little, so Larry Nassar is this guy who was right here in Michigan, who was a doctor to a lot of young women and women who were Olympic level athletes, and I guess other women at Michigan State University, young women at Michigan State University. And he, just gotten convicted for molesting maybe 265, or maybe accused of molesting 300. I don't know. But he's a predator. He's a predator. And it seems like his perspective on it, like, the judge put some political stunt, because I guess she's going to be running for office. So she had people who had not, when they had where the victims get to give their statements, she had people come in and give statements. Like, I probably could have came in and gave a statement, and I don't even know them, and been like, you hurt me in this way, like the impact statement. I don't know what it's called, but whatever. So it was like 29 days of statements, impact statements. Okay. And then he was like, oh, it's too much. It's bothersome. And it's like, well, how you think it felt for somebody to be molested by you? You think it was too much or bothersome, sir? So anyway, he had his man who's his boss, who's crazy, a predator. out here telling medical students, women medical students, that they should drop out and become centerfolds, saying that, you 26 years old in 20 minutes, you complaining about your grade, young lady, in 20 minutes of sex with an old man, you could have a trip out the country. He had video of one of Larry Nassar's examinations on his work computer. He had pictures of naked young women on his work computer, and some of them were students at Michigan State University. I guess that he was the man's supervisor, and when things started coming out, but at some point the university said we need to have a strict system of supervision and management of Larry Nassar. And this guy, I don't know his name, but this guy, basically was like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job. Go out and molest more people. So more people apparently got molested. So the Michigan Attorney General was like, there really is no bottom with these people. Right. I guess he trained him, and I guess somebody trained him, and I don't know. But the Michigan Attorney General was like, well, how was Nassar able to molest so many people? And so that's how he ended up, or the Attorney General ended up coming across this person who had resigned from his job because of health reasons and was still on the payroll initially, but then here recently, maybe in 2017, was fired because they realized that he hadn't supervised Larry Nassar with the system that they put in place for him to supervise him. Over 1,700 Detroit households. Now, this is national news. It's been kind of news in Michigan and Detroit for a minute, or, this conversation. Over 1,700 Detroit households face water shutoffs this month. Director conflicted over decision. So, there's like a whole movement out here saying like it's inhumane for people in America the Great to not have water. Like, you can't be cutting off people's water in America. There needs to be another system. Something is wrong with this. So anyway, 1,700 Detroit households face water shutoffs this month. I don't know if it's 20,000 a month. I don't really know how. I don't know. But that's a lot. And I know I heard a young woman at the Buck dinner I mentioned the other day, who, I think it was her who said that they were delivering water in Detroit. They deliver, I don't know if they went to Flint, but they were delivering water in Detroit. And, the people didn't have water, and they were like bringing them gallons of water so they could cook and wash their hands, and gallons of water in plastic containers. So yeah, it's a lot, and it's kind of crazy, and it's kind of like in this, I would love to see some analysis and some synthesis of, this idea of basic human rights when we talk about, Cape Town running out of water, and, places in the, because there are people all over the world who don't have access to a faucet, who never had water to run out of, and they spend lots of time trying to get water during the day, because they can't just turn the faucet and get water. So for Cape Town to be running out of water, there are a lot of people on the continent who ain't had no water to run out of. But, I just wish I could see some synthesis and some analysis. No one should be living a third world life in the United States. The same thing is happening in Alabama with hookworms, in Mississippi, all over the country. Poor people in this country, it's some stuff going on. So, yeah. North and South, it's a shame in a country where some people have billions of dollars to themselves. Not just in a country, right? But in a world. I think I read someplace that if the 1% that it would be a small percentage of the wealth that the 1% is hoarding that would eliminate, world hunger. Not even you have to give up all of your money. And they have money for not just them and their grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren, but they're hoarding so much so many resources, so much wealth. I mean, it's something wrong. I mean, it's a sickness. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame for people to be hungry. It's a shame for people to not have water. Demons. Yeah. North and South Korea shook hands and toasted to peace in a rare gesture of friendship. I don't know what it means. I don't know. Lavar Wallace's plan to turn his son LiAngelo into an NBA player appears to have one giant snag. The NBA doesn't want him. So I guess he took the child out, the one who was shoplifting. I think he admitted to shoplifting in China and got suspended from UCLA. Then his father took him out of college and took him to Lithuania or somewhere in Europe to play pro ball or something. I'm not really quite clear on all of what's going on and so that he could play and then he could come into the NBA. Now, I don't know if he's not talented or if they just feel like Lavar Wallace is very intense and maybe people don't want to be bothered with him as a damn dadager, not as a manager or just, I'm not really sure what the story is with Lavar Wallace. British politicians slam Mark Zuckerberg, that's the founder of Facebook, as cowardly for refusing to testify to Parliament. So he's going to testify here in the United States, but he said he's not going to testify in Britain. He's 33 years old. He's relatively young. He acts young and immature. And he going to send some people over to testify over there about, what was going on in Facebook, in terms of Cambridge Analytica and all of that other stuff. Walmart is pulling Cosmopolitan from checkout lines in response to #MeToo, but it's an embarrassing perversion of the movement. In the article about Larry Nassar's mentor, who, sexual perversion mentor or whatever, who's been caught, there was one little paragraph where they were like, well, gymnasts shouldn't wear leotards, or should gymnasts wear leotards? I think they asked Allie Reisman or one of the Olympians. And she's like, gymnasts wearing leotards is not why someone is a predator. Why are we focusing, and that's what this is this article is well, Cosmopolitan, hey, Phone Jones, which is not really the most progressive publication out here. We're not going to argue on that. We're not going to talk about that aspect, but they're it's written by women and it's for women. And, the Me Too movement is a response to men taking advantage of their power position over women. So attacking Cosmopolitan to me is the equivalent of attacking leotards. Oh my gosh, there's been so much, all of these gymnasts have been, molested. So no more leotards. And I'm did these little 13-year-old, 16-year-old girls come up with the dress code? It's probably some old, perverted man. And then these little girls who are gymnasts, or these young women who are gymnasts who are 18, 16, they look about 11, 13 in terms of their body type, so it seems like it's the people who are interested in a very child-like body type are, but anyway, so that's what's going on. Walmart is pulling Cosmopolitan. So, hallelujah, I guess the problem with men disrespecting women is, solely, it's going to be addressed by, getting rid of some publication for women or not having it in the checkout lines. I think this was some other conservative group that went after Cosmopolitan, or I don't know if conservative is the word, but some foolish group. I mean, I'm not even here for Cosmopolitan, but it just seems dumb. What are you doing? Use your energy for something productive. An Apple facility that repairs iPhones in California won't stop calling 911, and nobody knows how to stop it. We talked about this a couple months ago. It's been going on for a couple of months. The small town where this is happening, they only have 6 lines to call 911, and sometimes all 6 lines are taken up by these Apple phones who are in the repair shop calling 911. Now I'm thinking of you, Yappa. Like, are the phones like, help me, they abusing me, and that's why they call it 911? But they done tried to, you could make it a better joke, but they done tried to, they trying to fix it. Apple say they trying to fix it, but it's still tying up all of their 911 lines. And it seems doesn't that seem very spooky to you, that like an electronic device is like, they can't figure out why it's doing what it's doing? Like, don't we run the machines? The machines ain't supposed to run us, are they? I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. They can't figure it out. They built the machine. They created the machine. I mean, can God figure out people? Or is God like, I don't know what the hell they out here doing? I don't know. Right, like Alexa laughing for no reason. They still don't know why. I thought that somebody thought they were being funny at, I don't know what brand she is. It's not Google, but whatever brand she was. I thought somebody was being funny, and I don't know how much longer my battery is going to last. But anyway, yeah, like that thing laughing. That's spooky. That makes you feel like it really does. Like in all of these movies, like I, Robot, or there are other movies where they talk about machines coming into consciousness. It makes you feel like, you can feel them coming into consciousness, right? That's what it makes me feel like. Like, why they calling 911? Look, I keep saying that over and over again. Like I'm on a loop. I'm turning into a computer. Why do they keep calling 911? Why do they keep calling 911? Why do they keep calling 911? She's good company. How's she good company? Laughing. I can't even conceptualize. Like, I know the little things, the circular things that vacuum. It's like I get the concept of that. And I guess that these Alexa things, you say, Alexa, order me some laundry detergent. Alexa, call Mary Sue. I guess I just don't get, I don't know. But I know my husband he loved to talk to his phone. Like as soon as he found out he could talk to his phone and tell it to call people or text people, he was like, right on that and into that. And I'm like, by the time you do that 3 or 4 times and then it don't understand what you're saying and you're like, call Angela, and it's like, call an ambulance, and you're like, no, call Angela. I could have already called Angela. Like, what are you doing? It's not even like efficient. But, somebody has to be at the front edge of making it efficient. But I don't even understand the concept of those things. I don't even know what you tell them other than that. I've just seen the commercials. I was trying to think of something else to tell her, but I can't think of nothing else. Demand increases for accountability. Criminal charges in Stephon Clark police shooting. Demand. This is a part that kind of like demand increases for accountability. Yeah, like I'm like, how much? I don't know. Like how much more can we demand? How much? I mean, I don't know. Karamovo. I see where you're going, and I agree. Yeah, I can't quite put it into words. I'm too frustrated to do it. Crowds direct fury at Putin. So there was this mall fire that happened, I think 50, 60, 70. Why would the question even have to be asked? Right. 50, 60, 70 folks were killed within the last couple of days at a mall. And I'm not sure if it's like a shopping mall or recreation mall. Because, they call like the mall in Washington is like a big grassy thing. But when I heard mall, I thought of like a shopping mall. But some people were killed in Russia. I don't know why they're blaming Putin. But the crowds are directing their fury at Putin. This is my favorite headline of the day. I don't know why, but I'm glad we're talking about that. That's why. CoIntelPro continues as documents reveal FBI surveillance of Black Lives Matter. Because it was kind of like about a month ago, I'm like, wait a second. I'm like part of this whole like, how dare they say anything about the FBI? How dare? And I'm like, wait a second, the FBI ain't my friend. So, it's kind of like, I feel like as a black folk, I got to stay woke and not buy, the same, stuff that, might be relevant or, y'all might be looking at or they might be looking at. It's not for me. So I'm just happy to see this article, this headline coming across Atlanta Black Star. Like, we got to keep our conscience. We got to, stay woke, stay aware as much as possible. This is old news. Linda Brown, or relatively old news. I think she passed away yesterday. Linda Brown, central figure in school segregation case. Brown versus Board of Education dies. So rest in peace to her. It kind of made me curious when I looked at the article that her parents wanted to put her in an all-white school. And I was curious as to why her parents wanted to put her in an all-white school. A lot of times these situations were, they were designed to be test cases. So I don't know if her family was part of the NAACP or part of whatever, and this was designed, Legal Defense Fund, which is a whole different organization from the NAACP. But anyway, I don't know if it was a test case or, if her parents just felt like, well, there are no books in my school or, I don't know. But it just kind of made me curious because we talk a lot about, I guess we fought so hard as a people for our children to be, in their schools. And then, we have all these conversations about the multitude of ways that they abuse us and terrorize us and harass us and, mess with us in small ways and big ways and subtle ways and, bold ways, but it's kind of like it's something we fought for. So, we fought for. And there's nothing wrong with, I don't think that there's anything wrong with, doing an analysis and thinking, okay, this is the way to go. And then realizing, well, maybe it's not the way to go. Like from experience, it's okay for us to realize, well, and I don't even know, it makes me also kind of curious because NAACP is an organization of Black folks and white folks working together. So it makes me kind of curious about what the actual agenda was, because I kind of feel like the demolition of Black communities throughout the country drove us economically, away from our businesses and into their businesses. So I'm curious about integration. Like, was it really something that like we were just like, oh, we really want to be integrated? Or, was there like, I just feel like there's probably more to the story than that, And I feel like more to the story is that, we are, Black folks are huge consumers. I think we consume disproportionate to our numbers. It was definitely a bad idea, but there was no way to know how bad it was at the time. We underestimated their hatred of us. We thought we would be able to become like, I guess Americans in the same way that Irish people became white, Yeah. But I'm not even sure. It's not even really clear to me because the sister, your radical home sister said, I don't know, and I'm still like processing it. She said that, or I heard, don't quote me, but I got the impression from her that this whole study of like where the little girls like look at the black doll and look at the white doll, and the people say, which one is the pretty doll? And the little girls just, black girl after black girl after black girl said the white doll is the pretty doll. Which one is the ugly doll? The black doll is the ugly doll. I remember her saying, or I got the impression that she said that research had to be conducted again in order to get those results that made it seem like, oh, integration is just making us hate ourselves so that we could be pitiful, so that, we could, so that the white people would help us. You know what I mean? Like make them feel bad. And then they're like, oh, these poor, pitiful Black people. But that initially the results were not skewed as much as, the second results. I know I'm not, it's been a long day. I'm not articulate, but you understand, just feel what I'm trying to say. So it makes me wonder if like in something with, with integration, if it was like, yes, we're really fighting for it. Like, were we really fighting for it? Were we, did someone, like there is a thing of like where you can get people to buy into certain things, like, through advertising and through promotion. Like you can sell ideas and concepts to people just like you sell products to people. And some sales are easier than others, but like, maybe we were sold this idea, like maybe it's not like this innate desire that we had to like, because I don't know if I look around, do we have this like big innate desire to be around? I don't know if it's like a real innate desire. Let me keep moving because I'm out of, Heineken hears Chance the Rapper loud and clear and makes move on controversial ad. I guess this is another company that I can't boycott, or I'm boycotting, but I don't drink beer. I don't drink Heineken, so my boycott don't really mean nothing. It's just like a mental boycott. It's like a spiritual boycott. But I just kind of feel like if they had a black person with half a piece of consciousness, one mistake is that we see others the way we are. Black people are inclusive, loving, etc. So the wrongly perceive others is that way. Yeah, I think so. I definitely agree. But, in terms of Heineken and like these companies, and like, again, to me, it's like the same thing. Like, oh, I'm sorry we did that. We're going to remove this ad immediately. I feel like don't remove the ad immediately. Just don't put that BS out there in the first place. Like, I guess I just kind of get tired of, like, it's like if you're in a relationship and the person is like, boom, oh, I'm sorry. And you're like, okay, I forgive you. And then they're like, boom, boom. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And you're like, like, I just feel kind of like, just don't hit me anymore. You don't have to say sorry. Just stop hitting me. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to apologize for the ad. Just don't put the ads out there. It's Dos Equis. Isn't he the most amazing, interesting man in the world? Dos Equis, something like that. So yeah, lighter is better. Like, I just feel like that's like, I don't know if every black person is going to see that and be like, but if you have somebody with half a consciousness somewhere, but these companies I don't want their apology. They can keep their apology. One thing I don't need is any more apologies. I got sorry greeting me at my front doorstep. You can keep yours. It can't open doors or take the garbage out. And you're right, they need to stop. But they do that on purpose, right? But I'm tired. You can keep your sorries. Keep them. Sorry, I don't want it. I don't need it. James Corden lands another primetime carpool karaoke special on CBS. Now, I have seen clips of carpool karaoke on YouTube like a year or two ago, and I probably watched one, and then I probably ended up like watching 5 or 6 like that one time when I watched, and I thought they were really funny. I thought that the host guy, the white heavyset guy, I thought he had a really interesting sense of like timing and humor, and like I thought it was amazing and interesting the way he interacted with all the different entertainers. I don't watch his late night show or whatever. I had no idea he had 2 or 3 primetime specials of carpool karaoke. That's the reason why that was in. I'm like, oh. I mean, I don't know if I would watch a special. I haven't gone back to look for it again. But when I did watch it, I thought he was very clever and funny. Mitch McConnell wants to legitimize hemp. Here's how it's different from marijuana. For Interior Secretary, diversity in department doesn't rank as top priority. I don't know what the Department of the Interior is. One thing the article was saying is that diversity is like an integral part of the Department of the Interior. So I don't know, but we know that nobody in this administration even pretends to value anything other than rich white men with property and power. So New York Jets owner plans to push to make standing for anthem mandatory. So I guess there's a push to make standing for the anthem mandatory. It's so like regressive. Like, I guess this whole like experiment with, democratic ideas or whatever, or like freedom is like, like, so people are going to be forced to pledge allegiance, like it sounds so like, you're in a dictatorship, and I guess in a way you are, but anyway, yeah, I guess we have been anyway, because as soon as we complain or say we're not happy with I will not stand for a flag that represents our oppression. As soon as we stand up and say, I'm not here for, anything that, I'm here for my people, then they CoIntelProing us, coming in, assassinating us, smearing our name, bringing in, I saw some image that was like, why did Ferguson look like a military state? And I'm like, isn't this a military state? I thought it was a military state. It seemed like it is for black folks. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, they want to make the standing, or somebody is pushing for it. Oh, backward ass POSs. Yeah. Sears reclusive CEO explains why he rarely visits the office and instead lives in his sprawling $38 million estate that's 1,400 miles away. He's commuting. You know how people work jobs and they don't go into their jobs. Like, what is it called? Like remote, when you work remotely, there's a whole term for it, but that's what he does. Now, Sears, it seemed like when I worked in retail, there was some girl in the store who worked in Sears, and she's like, nobody ever comes in. She works in electronics. She gets paid, I think she was getting paid $12 or $14 an hour. And she's like, no one ever comes in. And she was like, I'm like, how is the telecommute? Yeah. I'm like, how? He's a telecommuter. Sears reclusive CEO. I'm like, how are they staying in business if no one ever comes into the business? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was when they were like, is Sears even like this? Is Sears like a viable business? I didn't even know. I don't know. I thought they were like on their way out of business. I don't even know why this is a headline. Maybe, they're about to build a case about the fact that the company is falling apart because he's trying to telecommute instead of bringing his behind in there trying to, I don't know. Christina Aguilera took off her makeup for a new magazine cover, and the transformation will blow your mind. No, I love looking at pictures of people. I didn't even know Kmart was still around. Now, I think Kmart is like local to this region, but I don't even know because I don't like going to those. I don't like big corporations. I don't like going to them. And like when I lived in Mississippi, it was like, it seemed like Walmart was like more present. Like, I don't even know where Walmart, I probably do from like 10 years ago. If I thought about it, I could probably find a Walmart, but I don't even know where Walmart is. But in Mississippi, it was like there was only Walmart. It's not quite true, but it was like, seemed so present and like so central. Like Kmart, like where's the Kmart at? I don't know. But I love before and after pictures. Like, like if you see Oprah Winfrey with no makeup, like I love the artistry of makeup artistry. And there is like some, astounding, transformations you can see. And also I like seeing like famous women without their makeup because they look like the same. Like that white woman I just saw over there, you'd be like, she looked just like just the regular old white woman. But when she's all made up and glammed up and then they blow the wind through her hair and then they flash the special lights on her, you're like, oh, not quite. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, I just think that I think effects are amazing. So how Obama plans to create 1 million Barack Obamas. I thought that was a conversation or an interesting concept in terms of the importance of education and the importance of dealing with young people and the importance of training and orienting young people in a certain way. I don't know if, I don't think it's necessarily anything wrong with him wanting to create 1 billion Obamas, I guess. But I mean, I feel like we should all, be trying to clarify what our values are and what values we want our children to embody and be out here educating our children. We should be out here educating our children to fight for and embody those values and those fight for those issues, like do the work that we think is important to have and it seemed like we just like give up our, our responsibility, like I think not only for our children, but for ourselves in a way. Like I think that, in terms of our health, I think a lot of times we were like, well, the doctor said whatever, or like, it just seems like we just give up our, like, well, McDonald's said, the burger was only $2, so I had to buy it. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, there's this sense, this feeling that I have sometimes where it's like, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We have to take responsibility for our health. We have to take responsibility for our children's education. It's us. If not us, who? We can't count on these corporations to feed us good food. They're not trying to feed us good food. They're trying to feed us janky, jacked up food so that we can be on drugs and dialysis. And, you know, they got a whole system going. They trying to plug us into their pipeline. You know, the same thing with the children. So anyway, I don't know how Obama plans to create a million Obamas. Breaking: officers will not be charged in the Alton Sterling shooting death. SSDD, same stuff, different day, right? We're not surprised. A former Supreme Court justice just called for a repeal of the Second Amendment, right? So it made me Google that article because I had seen this article that I hadn't read that was saying, you know, that the Second Amendment was founded, you know, to keep slavery in place or something like that. So I Googled it. I didn't read it, but when the first couple of articles that came up, one was from 2013, and it was like, this article that has been written by this person is like not true. I think that was coming off of The Root or Griot or one of the, but it was talking about the Second Amendment and slavery. I didn't read it, but it's kind of, I guess the fact that we were enslaved at the same time that the documents of this country were being written, you know, I don't know, like it's a concept that just like I still haven't fully integrated it yet, you know, so it just had me thinking about that, you know. Because do they have the Second Amendment in other parts of the world? Because my mother was like, well, the Second Amendment is because, you know, they had to fight and rebel against, you know, England in order to get their freedom. And I'm like, I think that's like the same type of propaganda as, you know, we all came over as pilgrims seeking religious freedom. I don't quite think that's true. I think that's like part of like the fable. You know, I don't know, but I think that a lot of these things that have, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean, you know, it's like these things that have been drilled into you, and you're like, wait a second, how did that, why do I think, is that true? Or did somebody just tell me that, and I'm just believing it? On this day in Black history, we remember the death of Maggie Lena Walker, right? None of the amendments until the 13th, I think, have anything to do with our people. We were slaves. We were enslaved, but if you look in the Constitution, like the way that the Senate was formed versus the House of Representatives, and the balance of Congress with Senate and the House of Representatives has to do with the fact that we were enslaved, and that the southern states there were so many of us that they wanted us to count for something, but we couldn't vote. But like, you know, so there's a lot of things that are written into the Constitution which do not mention us directly, but which are actually about us. So, you know, I don't know what things, you know, they may not mention us explicitly, but we were all over. I mean, you know, their fear of us, they're dealing with us, their exploitation of us, you know, they're wanting to benefit from, you know, the sugar and the cotton industry that was, you know, the reason it was so profitable is because they had all the free labor from us. So I don't know about this whole tea thing, but I think that definitely they saw the potential to exploit our labor to make a whole bunch of money, and they didn't want to give it to people in England. Like I feel like I want to go back in time with like consciousness and like see what's really going on. Cause, we were there. I think we, you know, and I think that if we knew how to read it, we could see, you know, like that's just one little example, right? That's where the 3/5 business came from. But I think there's probably other stuff that we just, you know, I don't know. I don't know who a Maggie Lena Walker is, but let someone, you know, take it upon themselves to educate us about who Maggie Lena Walker was. She died on this day, and Black Then did an article on her. How Antonio the Negro, Anthony Johnson, went from slave to slave owner. Now, what was interesting to me about this article is that they said, unlike other indentured servants, Anthony didn't come over here voluntarily. I'm like, isn't the definition of an indentured servant that you voluntarily come over in exchange for, you give a certain amount of labor in exchange for coming over here? So if you did not voluntarily come over here, you were not an indentured an indentured servant. You were enslaved. Oh, the first black woman bank president. You knew that off the top of your head? Or you looked it up? Maggie Leonard Walker. That's what the article said. That she... Nope. An African-American teacher and businesswoman, Walker was the first female bank president of any race to charter a bank in the United States. All right. So, that's your girl. That's your girl. I'm not going to say her name. Oh, you Googled it. That's really the same thing, isn't it? Google, Alexa is all... I don't know. Smoking elephant in India baffles experts. So they're like the elephant was like inhaling and exhaling, you know, some like somebody had some embers and they were smoke. The elephant appeared to be smoking. Now, when I used to travel internationally, people would always tell me take activated charcoal with you. If your stomach ever gets upset, that's what you use. Activated charcoal that you can get from the health food store. Just use that. That'll be fine. So I always travel with it. I never used it. The only time that my stomach ever got upset was when I was coming back from India. So the flight back, like I think I got on the plane and then like the whole flight, I was like in the bathroom, just sick. It was awful. But I wasn't sick when I was in India. And I was too sick to even come out of the bathroom. And then by the time I got home, I was fine. My dad used to smoke Camels. So, but I think that I think the theory is that the elephant might have been trying to like do something medicinal, like with the charcoal. And I don't know if smoking, if heating it up activates it somehow, but that was the theory. At first they thought he was smoking like a cigarette, the elephant was. Finding closure in the Falkland Islands. I don't remember what that's about. Keith Raniere, NXIVM leader charged with sex trafficking. So it's one of these like, he was taking the edge off. It's one of these cult type things. This NXIVM, or I don't want to say cult, but I've been to these things. Like I can't remember some of the names of them, but they're like, you know, these, you go and then they want to charge you like $199 or, you know, $1,000, like $2,000 or $200 or whatever. And you can get to like different levels and it's like self-helpy type stuff, but it's like a group and they tend to have like their own language and their own culture. Some people call them cults. It seemed to be this type of thing. But then at some point, I guess the person who was running it, NXIVM, but it's spelled NXIVM, but it's pronounced NXIVM. I guess he was like tattooing his or branding the women with his initials around their pubic area, and he kept them skinny because he liked skinny women, so they were restricted in their diet. And you know, I don't know. I mean, some people are crazy. That's all I want to say about that. Democratic DR Congo massacre. My daughter was slashed with a machete. So I actually skimmed this article, and what was interesting to me about this article is that there was a name in it from one of my favorite poems, and now I can't think of his name. All of a sudden, Patrice Lumumba. In the poem, June Jordan, poem about my rights, she says something like, you know, it's like my father. It's like Patrice Lumumba. You know, she calls his name. So I just have always thought because of that poem that Patrice Lumumba was someone progressive. But apparently in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Patrice Lumumba was the president or was in leadership in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And then the CIA or the FBI or whoever goes and meddles in other people's stuff, meddled to get him unseated, according to this article, so that the next person who was a dictator, who was like terrible and awful, you know, got into power. And DR Congo has not been the same since. So like in this community, you know, this baby right here, I think, you know, was found like they had slashed the mother, and the mother was dead, but the baby was there. Some people had like 11, 14 people in their family all killed. But I was thinking about the fact that, just stopping by to say hi, Career Minded. Hey, I've never seen your name before, but I was thinking about the fact of massacres with machetes. You know, we talk about in this country a lot here recently about these massacres with guns, but these massacres like where, you know, people come into communities and just, you know, kill a bunch of people with a machete. or with machetes. But anyway, Patrice Lumumba. And, I feel like, of course, yesterday when I read the headline, I'm like, I don't know what's going on in DR Congo. And then when I actually skimmed the article today, I feel like, therein lies the same pattern, right? There was someone progressive who was in power when DR Congo got its independence from, the European, heathens or whatever. And the Europeans got rid of that progressive person, and it's just like all of this like craziness you see is connected with that. Not connect, like I feel like, is it connected with us? I mean, it's us, but it's in a certain context. And DR Congo is supposed to be that's heartbreaking. I don't understand that kind of bloodshed. DR Congo is supposed to be very rich with minerals and other resources, as I understand. So I think that it's like part of oh, wow, my video is running. Yeah. It's like a disturbing image. Yeah, I don't understand. And I also, I try to understand that in the context, yapo, when we talk about who our people are, who we are, and how we move in the world versus how other people move in the world. And so then when we see us, what part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, DR Congo, is in Africa, on the continent of Africa, versus them versus us. And when I see us behaving in that way, it's sort of like, what is this about? Like, what's the context? Why? Like, what's going on? And it seems like every time that I actually if I dig a little bit, it's like, oh, it has to do, peace be fabulous, you, peace, Carlene McLean, welcome. So it seems like if I dig a little deeper, if I get a little bit of information, it seems like, it has to do with the removal of, I feel like the Europeans are still in it. Here's Patrice Lumumba. He's here for the people. And then they get rid of Patrice Lumumba. And then the next person is there for the money. And then it's like downhill from there. When I see our people do such things. Because, I guess on one hand, I kind of feel like, well, in any group of people, there are people with that Dutch king. I don't know anything about the Dutch king. And it seems like I guess it's like, because it's such a big world, and there, I guess I'm trying to understand the patterns. And I feel like that's a pattern. He cut off arms and legs. Oh, Belgium, King Leopold. Was that the Leopold guy? Belgium? I think that's who you're referring to. I think it's Leopold. Yeah, I think it's Leopold. And I think I was reading something about him, about that whole situation the other day where, people's wives would be held hostage when they were in the rubber plants. Like rubber trees, like rubber plants like that. And if they didn't produce enough, then their wives will be raped and tortured. But I feel like I don't know if I'm ever going to be an expert on, I guess I'm just trying to understand the pattern, because I do believe that there is a pattern. And I believe that the pattern is European, colonialism. I feel like it's them. Now, maybe that's crazy, or, they're still sending children down in the mines now, 8 years old, for makeup. Oh, really? I still feel kind of confused about the whole minerals that are used in our cell phones and our tablets and stuff that come from Congo. They talk about conflict diamonds. So a lot of people, don't deal with diamonds because there's they're bloody. They're conflict diamonds. And yes, our phones. And so it's sort of what do we do? What's the right way to handle it? I guess the way that I handle it, honestly, is that I just kind of ignore it. And I think already my personality is such that I'm not going out and buying a million phones, but it's kind of I feel a little embarrassed or ashamed, that I'm a part of, by being a part of the system, that I'm a part of, the exploitation of, just when you get clothes, children and other people, you're by being a part of the system, you're part of the exploitation. And so I don't really know how to I mean, I try to minimize my engagement in that way, but it's yeah. Kate Blanchett, I think you were right. Whiteism is like a cancer. It affects healthy organs it touches. I just cannot believe our people are innately brutal in such ways. It's hard. Yeah, but I think we do have to have conversations about, as much as, just like ethical and humane ways of, because I think that we're in a unique, I don't know. But I would love to, minimalism is the only way until we can totally get away. And I think Brother Yapo, you were talking about it the other day too. Like, a lot of it is like our mindset. Like, I feel like we have to break away. Cause it's sort of like, as a vegetarian, a lot of times I talk to people and they're like, oh my God, I have to eat meat. Like if they, it's like they start freaking out because like mentally, and I think that like when I hear, Whoopi Goldberg, I think I heard her say it, or I heard that she said that like when she went to Africa, she realized she wasn't an African. Yet when my people were preparing to go to Africa, I remember my mother's husband asking a woman like, well, what can we expect? And she said, you can expect to have a great time if you're humble. You can expect to connect with wonderful people. You can expect to be embraced. Like, I think mindset is so important, And I think that, we have to have a mindset. Like I try to say, we have to have a mindset of not being a part of it. But at the same time, like, I kind of feel like I try to stay conscious. Like, so when I say we're out here in the world doing all of this F stuff, I feel like I'm complicit in a way because I'm part of this system, like I don't want to, and I feel like I'm a beneficiary of this system as well, so like I get fruit, like there are like a lot of things. I don't know. I don't want to talk, but yeah, I feel like we need to, yeah. Kate Blanchett, Chris Hemsworth, and many more make, many more back hashtag Make It Australian campaign to protect Oz industry. We are all part of the same system. So moving on to this Make It Australian again, it just made me think again about, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the station on this, the show on YouTube, or the channel on YouTube called Black and Sexy TV, and knows anything about the history. But one thing they did, and I don't even know if the videos are up, that I thought was fascinating, or I don't know if it was fascinating because I had heard of people doing it before, but I like seeing their video of it. They did 30 days of buying only black. So, like here in Detroit, we do have a black owned gas station. And years ago, I used to go out of my way to only purchase gas from them. Or, I don't want to say go out of my way, but I just set up my system. So that was the only gas station I would basically, patronize. But, I was excited because when they did that thing of them trying to do, or them doing 30 days of buying products from black businesses. And then when we talk about buying black, this article was about buying Australian, but it made me think about buying black. When we talk about buying black, there's so many layers of, does that really help? Well, I think that it does help in certain ways. I definitely think from the little bit of understanding that I have about how money circulates, and we used to do a game with teenagers where we would have the Not Us community in Central Brooklyn, and Not Us. And like if everybody got money, and then I'm buying things in Not Us, I'm buying this in Not Us, I'm buying this in Not Us, all of that money went and circulated there. And there was less and less money in Simbrook. And we could see it. Like we did a little simulation, we took it around to the children. Everybody could see it. You could feel it. We understood it, And so that's where, like, I do think that it makes sense to, if I give money to you or someone who looks like me, that's going to help you be able to get clothes for your, that's going to circulate. The more it circulates with us, the more times that we can help each other. Black Wall Street, Tulsa circulated 16 times before it left the community. And so I think that, I wish that, like, I would like for, I think that it does make sense to buy black. And then I think also there's a conversation I wanted to have about the layers of buying black, because when I worked in a black boutique, a lot of the products that we purchased were not from black companies. A lot of the products were from Indians, Asians, Black Panther paradox. I'm sorry, I was talking. You know, even though they appear to be African and African centered, you know, it's like that whole market. Like even like the Dutch cloth is like, I think that's coming from Amsterdam, even though it might be dyed in Africa. But you know, there's like a whole, but you know, like the layers of buying black. But like even if we just get one layer of blackness, like even if the retailer is black, even though the wholesaler might not be black, but if you could get like a black retailer and a black wholesaler, we need our own products and distribution centers. Are you aware of Vortex Media? Which are both deeply white. Black Panther, right? And they're like, we have to go out and support. We have to show them. And it's like, what are we showing them and why? Why are we showing them anything? You know, we have to show them that we'll support black movies. So everybody go out and spend your money to help Disney and Marvel. But yeah, I like for people, if you can, I don't even know, like if Black and Sexy, if their Buy Black for 30-day piece is really up there, but I just thought it was like a really interesting exercise. And you know, maybe we can like, you know, not just exercise, but consciousness, like going out of your way sometimes to find us and to support us, which supports us and supports people like us and perhaps like-minded people. Researchers claim the ideal amount of screen time is just 1 hour a day, but they could be overstating the problem. So I'm like, is screen time, they mean TV too? Because I spend an hour just going through my news feed to try to grow as much of your own food as well. Yes. And keep your seeds and recycle your seeds. And yeah. Now, when I tried to have a garden, when I was living in Mississippi, I kind of realized like my skill level and my awareness were such that if I had to feed myself off of what I grew, I would starve to death. I'm not familiar with Vortex Media, but I'll check into them. So screen time of just 1 hour a day. I spend an hour a day just looking on my phone trying to get my notes on the news feed. And then I spend an hour talking into the screen. So is that part? No, I don't just get my seeds from Monsanto. I try to stay the hell away from Monsanto. Okay, I'm gonna keep moving. Nelson Mandela's golden hand cast sell for 10 million in Bitcoin. Jamaica, sometimes we don't have a choice, LOL. Yeah. When I went to, I was kind of surprised when I was this was 20 years ago when I was in Jamaica. I was like looking, you know, a lot of the orange juice seeds wise, I mean, yeah. You mean you feel like you have to get seeds from Monsanto? I was shocked when I was in Jamaica. When I wanted to get orange juice, a lot of it came into a carton. Yeah, they send their GMO stuff here, right? A lot of it came in a carton and it had sugar added. And I was like, why can't I just get fresh squeezed orange juice? Now, there were some places on the side of the road where I could find and just get fresh squeezed orange juice. But that whole processing and packaging kind of freaked me out. I don't think it's unique to Jamaica. It just surprised me. So Nelson, something so, wow, that's bad. I think that they send a lot of garbage stuff, and that whole Bill Gates and the Melinda Gates and Bill Gates Foundation or whatever is doing a lot of stuff with Monsanto and seeds in Africa and probably throughout the black world. Yes, they do. I'm convinced they spray our skies to kill our natural foods. Yeah. And I heard something the other day about Clinton sort of killing some of the the smaller banana companies in like St. Nevis and Kitts and, you know, in favor of some of his friends who had banana companies, like just driving them out of business. Yeah, I don't know. It makes me feel sort of Now you feel my frustration. I thought coming here I was getting away, but it's worldwide. Yeah, it is frustrating, and it feels overwhelming. But I do want to, like I was just going to say that, I want us to feel encouraged, and I want us to stay believing that God is in and through everything, and that nothing is more powerful than God. Nothing is more powerful than good. We may not see the answer immediately, but we have to start where we are and do what we can and do the best we can and keep doing more of it. And that, it is good, and that, it's good. Like you said, Brother Yapo, we've already won. We just have to stay, we've already won. So just keep doing what you're doing. We have already won. We're winning. We're winning. We're winning. We're winning. The more information we have, we have our ups and downs and how we're feeling about it. But, we're synthesizing information in order to stay encouraged, in order to stay empowered. But, and sometimes it gets heavy, or, I don't even try to get heavy, but when you start seeing the patterns, it gets a little like, Bitcoin, Nelson Mandela hand sold for $10 million in Bitcoin. I've been ignoring the whole Bitcoin thing because I'm just like, I guess, resistant. Like, is this like the new wave of the future? How much is $10 million in Bitcoin? What does it mean? In Nelson Mandela hand, it was like a cast of his hand or something. So I guess we're going to have to start paying attention to Bitcoin. And I know there are all kinds of people, Juneteenth, financial Juneteenth keeps trying to get us to invest in Bitcoin. Whenever I see them things come on my Facebook page, I don't even listen. Census 2020, U.S. asks controversial citizenship question. Mai Khoi, Vietnam detains activist singer after Europe tour. The Cambridge Analytica whistleblower denied claims that micro-targeting doesn't actually work and said they did it 10 times better than their rivals. White Sox rehire man who wrongly spent decades in prison. That was a sad story to me. But I guess if he was wrongly convicted and he used to work, I guess, for the White Sox, and now he's, after being in prison, locked up for 20, 30, 40 years, he's like, I guess his dream or his wish is to just go back to working for the White Sox. And probably he just wants to try to have some normality. But anyway, it just kind of made me feel sad. But I hope that he's at peace, and I hope that he's happy. Spy poisoning. Russia accuses U.S. of expulsion blackmail, saying that we're telling Europe and all of the other countries to be against Russia. The reason Brazilian women are requesting white American sperm is both heartbreaking and unsurprising. This reminds me of Chrissy, what I've understood Chrissy to be saying, that in the same way that, black women have been replaced, increasingly black men will be replaced in terms of their value. So like here are these Brazilian women requesting white American sperm, specifically the sperm of blue-eyed men. And we know that Brazil is, there are a lot of us in Brazil, so I don't think that it's just the white people who are requesting, white male sperm. I think, these issues are like deep with us. Just like the young woman who won the Carnival, the dark-skinned woman who won Carnival, and then, or whatever, the contest, and then the people, black and white Brazilians, are like, oh my gosh, she can't be the queen of, or the princess of, she can't win Carnival, or what, she can't represent us because she's too black. And so they just removed her and they hired or selected a light-skinned person. But her partner, when I watched the video, her partner is like, I don't know if he's white, but he certainly looked white to me. I don't know if he identifies as white. But, as chocolate as she is, she has not chosen, or she hadn't at that time chosen, a black person. I remember someone who had spent time in Brazil talking about how black women, there was like a word or a language or a concept about black women's loneliness from not being desired by, black men. Everybody wants, or, we feel like everybody wants, like we were watching Married to Medicine, and one of the black men is like, I like a Latina. And so, the black woman who was on the show, they almost matched her with him, which was like a recipe for her to feel lonely and rejected and bad about who she is. Because he don't want her. He wants, but anyway, I just thought it just reminded me of Chrissy, that article. And I was kind of like, wow, it is heartbreaking. And I don't know, is this like, again, part of the propaganda? What does it really mean? Like if we could statistically look at, even with, the percentage of prominent black men, whatever percentage it is, that are choosing lighter and whiter women, is it really lightening? I remember this story in the New York Times when I was graduating from high school in 1989, that was like, by a certain point, everyone in the world is going to basically look the same color, because there's just going to be so much mixing and mingling that there's not going to be, black and white. There's just going to be humans. So, I mean, is there like a progressive lightening? Like, because I still see black people, like blackity black people, but I don't know. I'm curious about that. Manhattan real estate values are plummeting because of straight up overpricing. Real estate is a thing where, it's based on, the value is based on what it's valued at. Like, if somebody is willing to pay, I love our black women. I love our black men too. I'm not saying it's everybody, and I don't even know if it's as much as we think it, as much as I think it is, because I probably think it more than anybody else. But, so yeah, if somebody is willing to pay $5 for something, then it's worth $5. If the next person is willing to pay $20, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, they saying it's straight up overpriced in Manhattan. Police are investigating multiple suspicious packages sent to U.S. military bases. When they x-rayed them, I think something was found to have explosives in it. Tired of waiting for Mr. Right, British woman sells her virginity for $1.4 million. We heard about her a couple months ago because it's some auctioning service that she's a part of, which has sold women's virginity before. But this is a fascinating subject to me, because the whole issue of like sex, the exchange, currency exchange, because sexual energy is currency, and I'm just like fascinated by prostitution and sex, and some people are like, wives are hoes too, so what's the difference? They have caught a suspect in those package bombs. I just saw that on the news a little while ago. Oh, the ones at the military base. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation, and we're way into this conversation. EFF members, that's this is in South Africa, the freedom fighters, economic freedom fighters. EFF member offers simple reason to justify land expropriation from whites. It's not really their land. So they like, oh my God, we take it the land. Some people are like, we take it their land. No, it's not their land. You're not taking their land. That's what the EFF people said, and I agree. Shaquille O'Neal makes more money now off of endorsements and advertising than he ever did during his Hall of Fame NBA career. That's fascinating, because I was just thinking, I see him on 2 commercials right now. Right, why are they even having that conversation? Well, I don't even know what happened at the end of our apartheid, because I feel like something weird happened that, 10% of the people still own 90% of the land and 90% of the good jobs, or whatever the percentage is. It's not proportionate. So what happened at the end, the so-called end of apartheid? It don't sound like the end of apartheid to me. What really went on? Here's what the average flags of the world look like. Chicago White Sox grants wish to man who spent 23 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Cardi B announces new album, Invasion of Privacy, Icy Hot. Cruise ships, who needs to be able to shoot a free throw? Yappo Yappa is on another stream. Mugabe sold out to Winnie after she supported. I couldn't see it because I was busy reading. The White House, right, there was a whole bunch of selling out going on in South Africa. I mean, I don't, Nelson Mandela supported him for so many years in the movement. The White House says it's investigating $500 million in loans granted to Jared Kushner's family business. The White House, zero isn't, let's keep moving. Police union claims black officer who killed white woman is being treated more harshly by prosecutor. I was shocked by this. Has the police union ever done anything for black people? No, I'm with you. That was the Shaq thing in the commercials. Oh, Icy Hot. Yes, Icy Hot, the General cruise ships. Yep. But he had to be able to shoot a free throw to get those commercials. And he has a car too. There's some car or vehicle that he has a commercial for. I'm like, I don't know what Yapo. He must be talking to somebody else. You ain't talking to me with that. Parts of China are using facial recognition technology that can scan the country's entire population in 1 second. In 1 second? The entire population of China? That's a big country. Mountain lion roams California backyards. You know what was interesting? That's the end of it. But what was interesting to me about that is, like, I wonder if the animals, you know, have like a news feed or whatever. And like, you know, before we started like encroaching, you know, totally, they got so many. Now that's scary. They got so many people. I almost said something real messed up. If the mountain lions and the stuff are like, another human being sets up, you know, a house in our land, or another human being, you know, knocks down a whole bunch of trees, like, are they communicating about us? You know, because I kind of feel like the mountain lion is probably like, you know, these California backyards are my people, or this is my lions, my ancestral lions' land. Like, I'm just being where I'm supposed to be. What are y'all doing here? You know? But anyway, that's what I got. That's the end for now. That's all I got. That's all I got. And it's still daylight out. And I don't feel like, I feel a little, but I don't feel exhausted. So thank you all so much for joining live. I appreciate the energy, the vibration, the engagement. It's a long conversation today, but it's been short the last couple days. You are awesome, Angela. Love your show. Yay! Yeah, I was going to try to say in my introduction something about the show, but I never remember because I go on automatic pilot and then I get distracted by the thumbnail. I got to do better with my thumb. I don't know what. I keep making a plan and I never have time to think about it. I don't really have no plan. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching on the replay, liking, commenting, subscribing. All of those things help to build the channel. And I guess more important than building the channel is just building the community, the conversation. Is anybody willing to buy black for 30? Have you ever done buy black for a week? Do you know where a black gas station is in your community? Do you, like when I was wanted to wrap my hair or do some things, I decided to get yarn because I didn't want to support fake, even though now they have fake nappy hair at the Asian hair salon. I don't know if you remember, there was that comedian that did the movie. I think it was called Good Hair. And in that movie, he went around and he had some nappy hair from Detroit. And the person was laughing at him. She's like, nobody wants to buy nappy hair, but now they have nappy hair at the beauty salon, at the beauty supply, but I didn't want to support them. So I just went and got yarn and wrapped my hair in yarn, Chris Rock. But you know, where are you spending your money? And can you find, you know, a new black business to support? Can you transfer some of your money from, you know, one business today and find a new black business that you can support, you know? Could you buy black for 30? If you had to buy, you know, everything for 30 days from black businesses, could you do it? Could you do it for a week? Could you do it for a year? You know? All right. Today is the best day ever. Be you, be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you.